questions! It's almost as many syllables as Vietnam. So, today's not technically Sunday, and I'm sorry about that, but not very sorry, because, come on, guys. I tried to get someone to fill in for me, but I didn't hear back from them, and then on Saturday, the day I usually film, I was, wicked busy, and then on Sunday, I didn't, stop until 10 o'clock at night, and at 10, I'm my hair was really gross, and my head was hurting, and I was kind of so, this is what you get. Today I'm wondering about modern-day miracles, and why we don't see as many miracles here in the West. So I was thinking about this in particular because a few weeks ago I met this kid who goes to my InterVarsity group. He just started going. And the reason I met him was because he was introduced to me by someone who met him back in September. And in September, a group from the student church, I don't know if you've heard of them, but I'll link their website below. I hadn't heard of them, but they came to my campus and they were walking around my campus talking to people, praying over people, and they met this kid. He was a football player and his ankle was hurt. They prayed over his ankle and the pain went away, and a week later he was out of the cast or brace or whatever it was. I don't... Details! And that kind of blew my mind, because even though you hear about miracles sometimes, or healings, miraculous healings of the Holy Spirit, you don't really know how much clout to put in that. Is it really real? Is it really Jesus? Why did this happen? And we don't really see miracles like that too often, especially here in the West, I want to say. In third world countries and places where there aren't that many believers, crazy stuff happens. Missionary books they blow my mind, because all these crazy stories and things that God did, they blow my mind. And it's kind of okay, God, how come you don't always work like that here? How come I don't really get to see it? And when you do see it, you wonder, is it legit? I read a really interesting blog post about this, which I'm also going to link below, that talked about how here in the West, we're really comfortable. We have such a high standard of living, and we feel like we don't really need God. When I was in New York, we were walking around this really, really nice section of Manhattan with all these beautiful $1,000 a month rent buildings, and our prayer leader guy was telling us how that's one of the biggest problems with evangelism in New York, is that these people have everything. They don't see their need. And so the article that I read took the perspective that because we're already so comfortable here in the West, miracles would just make our lives more comfortable. It wouldn't really show us God's power to transform. That's not something our culture questions. That's not something that the Holy Spirit delivers. My dad also speculates that because powers of darkness are witchcraft and voodoo and legit straight up, there are no blurry lines here, this is the devil's work. In places that are strong powers of darkness, you need equally strong Holy Spirit reaction to that. So I think that's why at my school's a really, really dark place. And I think that's why when Student Church was here, they were able to see such crazy God things happen there, because the Holy Spirit was responding to an equally strong power of darkness there. And I know that sounds kind of creepy and mystical and not legit. And I'm trying to find a way to communicate it in a way that doesn't sound psychotic. But I hope you kind of get my drift here, that the Holy Spirit moves in different ways, in different places. And he's not bound by any specific rules of what's kosher and what's not. I'm still not really sure. Still thinking. Classic, I don't really know answer. But that's what I've got.